Welcome back to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Today's episode is powered by Hayabusa. It's all about should amateurs train both stances. If you're orthodox, should you be training southpaw? All right, let's get into today's video. Today we're talking about switching stances. When should you do it, how you should do it, and as an amateur, should you do it? Right? So I get that question a lot because a lot of these newer fighters, they start training and then they look at some of their favorite fighters. You watch Israel Adesanya, he's switching stances, and now all the best fighters in the world have some sort of implementing of stance switching. So the question is, should you train your opposite stance as an amateur or when you're starting out? Well, my answer is going to be a little long-winded, but here we go. So first thing you need to understand is when you're first starting out is getting the basics of your combinations. So when you're first learning, it's very important, in my opinion, okay, everyone's going to be different, is to learn the basics, all right? If I'm already having trouble throwing a jab cross hook, okay, and now you're asking me to switch stances and throw jab cross hook, already I'm so confused because I don't know which hand to hit. Am I hitting this hand, that hand? And it just becomes really awkward. So when you first start training, okay, this is before you even think about competing, I really highly recommend picking one stance and sticking to it. Now, I teach here a couple beginner classes a week here at Bazooka Kickboxing, and a lot of times people don't even know how to stand, and to get them to switch stances and then learn how to catch and then to hold for different, it becomes one of the most confusing things for someone. You got to think, when you first started martial arts, if all of a sudden your first partner you had on day one was orthodox, and then all of a sudden you come back excited to train the next day, and then you have a southpaw in front of you, and you're like, but everything, it's too confusing. So once you've mastered your combinations, once you feel comfortable with your combinations, this is when I believe you should start introducing your second stance. Now, when I talk about introducing the second stance, right, Matt is a southpaw fighter. So how did we start, both Matt and I, switching stances? We start with simple things like, in class, if I'm doing 3 rounds of shadow boxing, the first 2 will be on orthodox, the third will be in southpaw, or the opposite for Matt. So we start with shadow boxing. Now, when you're just hitting with shadow boxing, the main thing you practice is you do it slow. So what happens now when you turn southpaw, okay, or I'm going to use the reference because most fighters are orthodox. When you're in your dominant stance, you notice you have a nice shoulder line. Everything is nice and sharp. Your center line's not open so much. But as soon as you switch stances, the biggest habit is people get too square, and then they square up. So just practicing through shadow boxing, working your stepping, your enter, exiting, and even going back and starting with box stepping is very important. If you're a professional fighter and you still have never switched stances, okay, practice box stepping, right? The simple of being able to move in your opposite stance is just going to help you, okay? Simply not crossing your feet, switching which hand's in front could even be confusing to the higher level fighters watching the video, okay? So my first recommendation is pick one side first, okay? Once you get comfortable throwing your kicks, your punches, your knees, you can flow very well. Start introducing it slowly. Now, the way I introduce slowly, like we said, shadow boxing first. The second thing might be on pads. If Matt's going to pretend to hold pads, we did our whole sequence on the right side, and then what do? As the coach, I will tell everyone to switch stances and maybe just practice single strikes from here. So we'll do power round kicks, boom, making sure we enter exit, right? Trying to keep the shoulder line, and then we might practice something simple like a jab cross, right? 1, 2, making sure everything is pivoted and nice and controlled. Now, this is when you get the basics on hitting pads from a southpaw, which again, feels totally different. This is where you start building in to get more comfortable the bag work. And I found personally to myself, introducing the second stance, which was my southpaw, working on the bag was the best because I can slow down, take my time. Even now, still to this day, I practice my head movement on a southpaw in defense. So one, slipping my head, being able to counter with the different drills is still something that needs a lot of work and a lot of repetition, okay? So now you've hit the amateur levels, right? So should you still now practice your southpaw? So yes, this is when you start building it in a little bit more. Now, even when fighting, okay, would you want to be half and half? No. the still point is, what you're gonna notice is you just fixed up your stance. You first started, you were square. Now you're more nice and linear. You're moving your body a little bit better. Now what you're gonna notice, defense becomes compromised in your opposite stance. So as an amateur, to tell someone who's still uncomfortable with fighting, there's still so many nerves, so anxious, are they gonna get knocked out, are they gonna get hit? There's too many things going on in their minds, so keeping them structured on their dominant stance is gonna be your best bet. Now, what I like to do once in a while, once they start fighting a little bit more, this is when we start practicing it, building it in. Now, once you've hit that amateur and you're getting a little bit more comfortable, this is when it starts happening a little bit more natural. So how do we learn and teach that now? This way here, what we'll do is we'll start doing timing drills where Matt throws his jab, okay? Look, I'm in a dominant side. He throws the jab, I touch. He throws a 1-2, boom, boom, blocking. Same types of drills that we do, you know, on one side, we practice the other side, right? So simple drills that we did on the right side, we now go on the left side. Now, this is a big way of saying it also depends on the person you are, right? If you're someone who's really structured and really set on one side and you're not comfortable going southpaw, no matter the highest level, even if you're a professional fighter, if you're not comfortable switching, you're never gonna do it in a fight, okay? But I still think it's important to practice the opposite side. I found technique gets better, and there might be a quick occasion where you might have to backstep and then a combination happens, and next thing you know, you knocked your opponent out in your opposite stance. And that's what tends to happen. A lot of times we can't get the knockout, but all of a sudden we might be in a backstep position. All of a sudden, oh my God, I just knocked out my opponent from a southpaw that I didn't even know I was in. Okay? So this is where it starts coming out naturally in your fights, because fighting isn't perfect. You're not able to stay so structured. You might have to hit, move, attack, defend. It gets a little bit messy sometimes, so understanding both stances will help you out, help your technique. Now the last point I'm going to make, no matter what, if you're an amateur and you're still preparing, still focus on your dominant side leading into the fight. It's after the fight, okay? If you don't have a fight booked, this is the time for you to get your reps in, your bag work, your shadow boxing, your pad work. Like right after this video, I need to work my southpaw even more. I'm grabbing Matt, we're putting our pads on, and I'm gonna work my attacking, slipping, and countering drills, okay? Because that needs work on my southpaw. So this is how we work it. And then when it comes to my big spar days, I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable being able to stay southpaw almost the entire time. So build up the comfort level in your training. Don't practice your opposite stance too close to your fights if you're an amateur. If you're a pro and you're able and you're competent in both stances, yeah, that's your style at this point. But if it's something new, don't get carried away with it. I'm still a big believer in having one stance that is your base, your structure. But if you can switch off, get a different angle with an overhang, create some unorthodox offense, I believe that as you get more advanced, that is the way to do it. Closing distance with shifts, backsteps, attacking, angling, the whole world keeps opening and opening up once you get to fight with both stances. All right, hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Make sure you support the channel sponsors. First, going to Hayabusa Fight. We have Perfect Sports Nutrition with code Bazooka20. That's all linked in the description below. Last but not least, we have bazookatraining.com where you get lessons and curriculum taught by me. We get 4 brand new videos every single Monday with an archive library of over 200 videos. And each week you get a home workout, a bag workout, a tutorial, sparring drills, all taught by me. So all of these concepts that I teach here, you get the actual curriculum at bazookatraining.com. All right, we'll see you next time. Share with your friends, don't tell your opponents, or do, to help me with my subscribers. Get me to 100K, and we'll see you next time here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Welcome to Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA online training. I'm Bazooka Joe Valtellini, the owner here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA. Over the past year, I've designed and created a website to teach Bazooka curriculum at home and across the world. The purpose of this website is for you to, 1, hit your fitness and health goals, all while learning world-class martial arts instruction from me. The beautiful thing about this website, it's geared for all levels. So if you're learning martial arts for the first time as a beginner, we help you progress into the bigger stages. And if you're a pro fighter, guess what? We have different fight concepts for you to improve your tool set and your skills in the ring or cage. As the fastest rising kickboxing world champion and a lifelong martial artist with over 30 years of experience, I've been able to combine my passion for martial arts and teaching to create this website. This website is going to give you some of the tricks, secrets, and inside look at some of the training I use to win my world title. Once you subscribe to this site, you're going to be getting weekly training videos and tutorials that you can do from anywhere. The sections are broken up into 3 parts. The first is bag workout. So if you have a bag at home or at your gym, you can use these workouts to supplement your training. The second is at-home workouts. A lot of us don't have the room for a bag or a bag in general, so these workouts are for no equipment needed and you can do them anywhere. And finally, the tutorial section. If you're having any problems with a specific technique or fight concept that's covered in any of the workouts, go to the tutorial section, learn the technique, and then go back to the workout, and this time, do it with proper technique. One of the added benefits once you subscribe is the forums section, where you can get a more personalized experience where you can ask questions and I'll be able to go in there and answer them. It's all about building a team and a community of martial artists helping each other grow. So subscribe now to get access to all the videos plus more so you can be part of the squad here at Bazooka Kickboxing and MMA.